Welcome to the ToKnight Show with Superintendent Shannon Cheek, your go-to podcast for staying in the know about all the exciting happenings in your local school community. We know that we are stronger together, so today's conversation is designed to give you a greater opportunity to be actively engaged in the success of our students. And now, Mr. Cheek.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Shannon Cheek, Superintendent here at Arthur CUSD 305. I want to welcome everybody to another episode of the ToKnight Show. Pretty excited today, pretty excited to have our guest, Mr. Chris Kessler, join us today. Appreciate you giving up part of your afternoon to be with us. Looking forward to visiting and talking and learning more about the area that you serve here at Arthur CUSD 305. So let me just start off by maybe talking a little bit about, have you talk a little bit about maybe your history, like your career path and where it's brought you and how you ended up here at Arthur.
I started high school taking a lot of industrial tech classes. My high school is a little bit bigger than this area, so we had a lot to choose from, and I just really enjoyed the teachers I had, the stuff we did, so kind of went to that area into college and really wasn't going to teach, went into architecture and kind of went through that for a little bit and then decided wanted to coach a little bit, so went to the teaching route and really haven't looked back then. Taught at Marshall for 15 years and then came to Arthur 8 years ago.
Okay. So in industrial tech, were you talked a little bit about when you went to college, you were really kind of interested in architecture. So what led you down the path of like, okay, I got into this and now I really want to go down the path to teach industrial tech?
Yeah, I had always done stuff with my dad and my grandpa. They were both manufacturing guys and worked in plants and stuff. And after I got into the architecture, I wanted to do a little bit more hands-on. We did some more different like material testing classes and stuff like that. And that kind of changed the route I wanted to go to.
Okay.
So it was more of just not one select kind of architecture. It was more different paths that you could go.
Excellent. As I've talked with educators in my career, it seems like no matter what subject I talk to them about, they all have their favorite, like their niche and what they really want to hang their hat on. So I know you teach a wide range of subjects and we're going to talk about what some of those look like, but do you have like, there's one area that you're like, this is kind of my niche, this is where my comfort zone is, this is what I enjoy the most?
Yeah, the class I teach that goes in about 10 minutes is CAD. Mm-hmm. It just, it's easy to teach. The kids, it's new to everybody. They learn it, they kind of grasp it, and that's probably the one I've taught the longest as well. But at the same time, having so many different classes I teach, and coming from different schools, I change classes that I taught, and that's really, it just keeps me fresh with different topics and stuff like that. So it's went really well. It's hard for us to have just a one thing because we teach so many different subjects.
Yeah, you do. You have to have a wide range. I mean, your repertoire's got to be pretty deep. So let's talk about that. Kind of segues into a good topic, and that is, why don't you talk to us and inform us a little bit about, we're in your shop, what classes you teach and what kinds of skills you teach kids and how you serve our students here at Arthur.
I teach almost 8-9 different classes, and I teach an introductory course to a lot of the main courses I teach. So like I have an intro to drafting where we learn different types of views and things like that we transfer to CAD. So when we get to CAD, I don't have to teach that. I can teach just the CAD program. So, and then we have a production class that is shop tools, all the equipment. So then we can go to construction and we don't have to worry about all that stuff. We can worry about construction techniques and things like that. And then I have a transportation and energy class that focuses on different types of transportation and different types of energy, which is a growing subject with solar power and wind power and things like that. And then I teach electrical trades, which is turned into a really beneficial class because it's now 8 credit hours of dual credit with Lakeland College. So I think I have a wide range of hands-on to technical to, there's just a lot of different choices for the kids.
Such a wide range of skill sets too, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is. Some of it, is math oriented. Some of it is just pure hands-on, and it just changes from class to class.
Tons of cross-curricular opportunities,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
For sure. So I think I have an opinion about this, but I want to know what your thoughts are, and that is, why are your classes, we all feel like what we teach is the most important thing, right? So when you think of the wide range of classes you teach and the wide range of skill sets that you present, why are your classes so important in your mind for our kids?
It's kind of changing, and it's the kid. I have a lot of kids who sometimes struggle in other classes. Example, math. That I think when they see results of what the math brings, they kind of adapt to it a little bit better. But as time has went on, I feel like it's going more technical, but that's not kind of what I'm hearing from people outside. They need the people to just come in who can do the hands-on. We're running out of those people, is what I'm being told.
Kind of hearing you talk about the practicality of your classes, right? And kids that struggle. I was one of those students that
I was
struggled
as well.
in math,
Yeah.
and but I think you bring up a valid point, and that is, part of the reason I may have struggled is because I didn't see the relevance, right, in what I was doing. And a lot of your classes, you're taking that math and you're applying it to a project and how it becomes life, right? So I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah,
That's
just
good.
results in products and things like that. So.
You do a lot of projects. So this is, the start of my 5th year, and every year I think I see you advertising products that the kids make, and it's pretty popular. I see a lot of those.
Yeah.
I see a lot of those projects on porches in our neighborhood. So where do you come up with the ideas for those, and what does that kind of look like?
Well, it started I don't think I did it my first year here. I think I started it on my second year. I know I didn't do it on my first year. But we really just sat down with the group of students I had, and we kind of, we have a school budget and we have things like that. But in order for them to build certain things out of certain materials and stuff like that, we needed a little extra fundraising, and we had money in there. And so to keep that money flow, we just thought we could do a fundraiser where we're still learning how to build something, maybe not as detailed, but as a decorative item. And we can kind of assembly line it together. So we have kids who, are painting or building and things like that. And it's kind of blown up to almost too much on certain years. I mean, a couple of years ago, we made snowman and we built like 130 of them. So
I may have seen you in here on your free time finishing some projects.
Yeah, that has happened. So, but the kids, they all really work together, and it's helped the program. And then they get to use that money at the end of the year for their final project. So, and we usually sit down and try to come up with something that's different from the year before. And I'm always looking for ideas. If anybody has an idea, I'll gladly take them. So,
well, I think that's a great example of kind of a cross-curricular, co-curricular approach where you're really incorporating design, and then you're incorporating the manufacturing piece and probably the promotion piece and selling. So there's a lot of components to those projects, which is really pretty fun and exciting to see. This can be just related to your career, or it can be specific to your time here in our district. But what's something that you feel like you're really proud of that you've either created or the kids have been a part of, or really anything?
Well, first, I'm proud of my 2 daughters, but I mean, that's a different subject. But I think just if you would have saw the shop when I got here, and every time somebody comes in from outside, they talk about how organized and how I do put a lot of pride into that. And I think the kids have adapted and put a lot of pride into that. And we get stuff put back the way it is. I mean, if you come in here in the middle of construction class some days or production class, there's stuff everywhere. It's a mess. But by the end of the hour, it's cleaned up. Everything's put back. And I enjoy kids who just, want to keep continually taking my classes and want to learn something new and do something different.
Yeah.
So
I've heard some stories about what the shop looked like. I didn't get to see it, but I think Mrs. Sigmiller's shared with me what it might have looked like.
I mean, the way it's a lot better than it was.
Yeah. So as you continue to think about your area of study and what you're trying to build here at Arthur Lovington Atwood Hammond High School, what's some of your vision down the road? Maybe potential classes you'd like to add, or projects you'd like to take on. What does that look like for you?
And we try to take on some projects outside of school. I know we built benches for the softball fields and done some housework for some people and just little things like that. But I mean, classes that I teach, I think we've really got a well-rounded like study of the classes we offer, but the classes could expand to more than what they have. And it's real honest. It's just space. We don't have the room to do some of the things I would like to incorporate into class. We talk about framing walls and we build little frames, but we can't lay out a framed wall in the area that we have. Because, I mean, right now, just this semester, I have over 50 kids that will work in the shop at the same, not the same hour, but the same semester. Well, we've got to store all their projects somewhere, and it just gets really cluttered in the area.
Yeah, so you're pretty limited by just space itself, and I think you do get. I've said this to you numerous times. I think you get a lot of bang for your buck in here, right? And I appreciate that. So you could, potentially a larger space would allow you to do more and serve more kids too. Which
because they could be working on several different projects at the same time, where over in one area, and then the other's working on something else, and it's just a limited space.
Just limited. So, kind of along those same lines, you and I have had conversations in the morning. Actually, just recently we were talking, and you talked about a CNC machine, I believe.
Right. Yeah, and that's exactly one of the examples. I mean, we do have a nice lathe that's right behind me, but it's a one person. Really only one kid can work on it during the hour. The CNC machine, those are great to have. We would use it often. We just don't have the kind of space to put something like that and functionally work.
What would you see are some of the other, maybe some of the like cutting edge trends that are out there in your area that if you had space or you had resources that you'd be like, yeah, that'd be something that would be really good for our kids to be exposed to?
Yeah, I think, well, the CNC machine would be one of them because we could adapt that with our CAD program into the CNC machine. So you're hitting like two classes there a little bit. But other things, it's not so much the technological that I could add stuff, it's the physical example of some of the stuff we talk about that we just can't physically do here. And, laying out the walls, making sure you're, building a truss for a roof, things like larger projects that we would do as a group to maybe hit a larger area would be something really beneficial. But at the same time, when we have to cut a sheet of plywood, four of us got to hold the sheet of plywood up because we don't have a big enough table saw to cut it on. So because in its space, it's not that the school won't get it for me or EFI program. I don't have any kind of problem with that. It's just physical space.
So I'm happy because I feel like, for lack of a better word, that pendulum has swung back in favor of the CTE courses. I'm hearing more and more how the importance of the CTE classes, people are starting to realize the importance of those again. I feel like there was a period of time where maybe that wavered a little bit. Are you hearing that as well? And are you hearing like, we need more kids, we need more adults that are skilled and that can go into the workforce and into the trades?
I think something that happened that my age didn't really think about, and the reason the CTE kind of went away for a little bit, there was such a large, and I've heard this numerous times in the last 2 years, there were so many baby boom workers that the jobs wasn't there. Well, now all those people are hitting retirement age, and there is a great concern with a lot of the transportation industry, our road workers, that they're not going to have enough people to work. And welders. I mean, you can drive around, even in our community, you'll see a sign out that says need welders. Just jobs like that, and construction guys and things like that. But at the same time, a lot of the things I'm hearing is we don't necessarily need the skills the hard skills, we can teach the hard skills. We need the soft skills. We need the responsibility. We need the kids showing up on time. I don't want to overlook those things as being super important. That's the things I'm hearing a lot from employees and employers.
So we've kind of touched on space, right? We've talked about the challenges that you're faced with. You have the equipment that you need. You're lacking a little space. So let's talk perfect world scenario, right? I come to you and say, okay, Mr. Kessler, we're going to do whatever you want to do with this space. Do you have a vision of what that could look like and what that could maybe add to our school? And
Absolutely.
I figured you probably did.
And I've drawn it out. You've
Yeah.
probably seen the copy, but not just me. CTE is business. It's vocational. It's ag. It's everything. And just me. If my computer lab was right next to my wood shop we could go draw something, then go build it, I wouldn't have to switch classes. I wouldn't have things like that. And just an open space where, right now, this happened 2 days ago. It was really cold out. And I didn't even think about this. Our stain froze in the back room because there's no heat in the back stain shop. It just things like that just accumulate. But a wide open space. This area is not really what I would consider wide open. The ceilings are pretty low for a shop, but there's posts and things in the middle of it, and just the way we can lay it out is kind of limited.
Yeah.
In how we can function.
So 10 years down the road, what kind of vision do you have for the program?
I really hope, like I said before, I really think that the studies are there, the classes are there. We've changed that a little bit. It's stuff that colleges are teaching, dual credit classes. It's just if we can somehow get an area for the CTE that would expand what we can do and what we can not just teach the kids, but hands-on perform and build the stuff, it would be awesome.
Yeah. Well, again, I really appreciate you taking time. I know this is part of your free period today, so I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to sit down and visit with you and give our communities just a little snippet of what you do and how you serve our kids here, because I do have a great appreciation for the work you put into it, the passion you have for it, and really just the skill sets that you do provide our kids. So once again, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So once again, thank you for tuning in. This has been Mr. Chris Kessler, our industrial technology teacher here at Arthur Lovington Atwood Hammond High School. Hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we look forward to visiting with you again soon.
Thank you for listening to The ToKnight Show, a broadcast of Arthur Lovington Atwood Hammond Community Unit School District number 305. Special thanks to today's guests. This podcast is produced for you by the Arthur Lovington Atwood Hammond Broadcasting class.